events in this video are fictional as the characters portrayed within. Any similarities to anyone living or dead are merely coincidental and have been created at random by XCOM's name generator. Seriously.
Hello, one and all. Mickey here, Surviving RNG. It's gonna be weird having my face up here in that corner when I'm editing. So yeah, I thought I'd just do a live talk about the series. And no, it's not gonna be me quitting it, which I really should. Maybe I'll go into detail about that, but yeah, I won't be quitting it even though I should. How about we start off with things that I liked about the series, things that I'm really glad I did, and things I wish I hadn't done. I know when I started this series, a long time ago, this being series 3, the first two being normal Ironman runs of Long War on impossible difficulty. This series wasn't like that. It was still Ironman impossible, but I'd made some difficulty adjustments, mainly for the early game. Late game, I'm slowly making it harder, but the early game, I had initially made it easier. I actually stick to that. There are a lot of balance issues with Long War that no longer apply in this campaign, because it only applies to the early game, but I think it'd make a more balanced game feels like that. For example, drones, impossible difficulty, they'll get all of their DR by the end of the first month. How you counteract flying units is by using high accuracy weapons like carbines, but carbines deal less damage, so they're not going to actually get through the armor of drones that have ranked up, have leveled up by the end of the first month. So the counter to drones is carbines, which is countered by the armor that they get. Stuff like that. And like Seekers having DR, that has never made sense to me. But the thing that put a lot of people off, that kind of killed the series and by extension the channel to a degree, because the channel was, I mean, it burst to like 2,000 subscribers within less than 6 months, like 3 months or so, helped by Long War, that one of the videos was featured on their chat, on their page on the Nexus, was the fact. Something there? Okay, cat food. We need cat food, otherwise they're gonna eat Oreo. So yeah, one of the things that I did with this campaign, I want it to be really unique. And typically on YouTube, unless it's like a one-off episode, especially like comedy focused, which I'll get to it as well later, doing unique playthroughs don't do anywhere near as well as traditional playthroughs. It sucks, but the simple fact is, if I hadn't done all of these changes, for example, perk roulette, random rookie perks, random terror rookie, master sergeant random perks, pets, if I hadn't done these things, this campaign wouldn't be going, because I'd find it boring, and the amount of effort that I put into each episode, I wouldn't find it worthwhile. Even if the series was doing better, ironically, I would have stopped it ages ago. So yeah, as much as it impacted the views, I'm really glad I did those things, because if I hadn't, I wouldn't have continued the series. And it's the only reason I am continuing the series, even though it's really hurting the channel. Things that I would have changed. The parodies. A few of the parodies, I think they are like classic level. Like the close range parody, I think that's been featured on Reddit a few times. I really liked the physically fit, the Muton autosy parody. I'm really proud of the base defense parody as well. That's really good. Unfortunately, the majority of them aren't particularly good. That's worsened by the fact that they're kind of like Marmite. Some people love them regardless of how they turn out. Other people absolutely hate them. They don't get it, they don't like it, and they kind of feel that me putting the effort into it is a complete waste of time. And I shouldn't have done the parodies, because like with the, what parody have I got going now? The Hyperwave Relay. And the problem with those are they're very creative intensive, and if I get like, it sounds stupid and it sounds such like a petty issue to have, but if I get like a writer's block, that stops the entire process of doing videos. Like, instead of just doing mindless, boring editing and, you know, putting the overlays on top of the videos and stuff like that I can do half in my sleep, that I can just churn out. But when I get to a parody, I actually need to think and focus and plan things out, actually make sure it makes sense, if it's worth what I intended to do, and that can just stop everything in its tracks, and I can't go any further than that. So, as I said, because a lot of the parodies, they just turned out to be completely meh at best, and worse, as I said as well, a lot of people either don't get it or just don't find them funny. I don't think they're worth it. I think I should have left the parodies out, and if I had a good idea to do them, like the close range parody, then done them after the fact. Just use the recorded footage that I have and edited that, and not have them released in the episode. So yeah, that's one thing. Then, right, yeah, so, officers. I don't know why I didn't do this from the beginning. So, others may live officers. Wilson, yes, you led the charge with that. So, others may live officers, actually. Wilson, we miss you. So, yeah, he really led the way with So Others May Live. And I can completely relate to the writer's block. I know. It sounds like such a petty problem, right? Writer's block. But when you've got other work to do, that can't happen until you do that kind of creative aspect. It really slows things down so much. I'm surprised Wilson's the only casualty so far. Yeah, the benefits of editing my videos mean I can take like half an hour on single decisions, like with that terror mission. There was one section where I took half an hour break, minimum like 35 minutes probably, and another section I took another 20 minutes, and I think another one I took another 15. And if I'd recorded it all, that's why there were so many chunks that were missing, because I had to stop recording, because usually I'll just keep recording and either talk about what I'm thinking or just not say anything and cut it all out. But because I knew I'd be thinking for so long, I was just like, no, you know what, just stop recording, I'm gonna sit and think about it. But yeah, benefits of editing. But yeah, Wilson, he led the way with Stars May Live. As you can see, top left, he's got the medal that's over my face. He's got the medal for being the first officer, or the first soldier, to get Stars May Live, that he got posthumously after he died. So technically there are two people who got a medal. But yeah, I should have said at the beginning, officers to be Stars May Live, or at least choosing the people that have those perks. But I didn't. Instead, I promoted people like Karlok, Watt, yeah, Renee. As you can see, he has got a will of 16. Nice going, buddy. And he'll have that until the 4th of April, at which point it'll be 46 will, and then the following month it'll go back up to his total of 76. So yeah, what I should have done was not, at least to begin with, not focused on officers that have got officer perks in their perk tree, or random rookie officer perks, or high will. I should have focused on Stars May Live officers, which is what I'm doing now. If I had focused on that, then every single person that would make it to Master Sergeant would have gotten enough missions to have also maxed out their Stars May Live. Now, yeah, Jack, yes, sorry, right, yeah, you made the medal for the demotion. There we go. Haha, we have medals. We have medals on the live stream. So yeah, that medal down here somewhere, that you made that, Jack. That is Renee's demotion medal, which technically you should get that twice. So yeah, I should have focused on making officers Stars May Live, because although it's not broken to have everybody have +8 aim and +8 will, it is absolutely incredibly strong. It is definitely strong. Just that tiny extra bit of aim and will, and it can make mediocre officers actually be half decent, have an extra will. Obviously nowhere near as good as, yeah, Renee, for example, who, when he gets off this downed timer, as I said, he'll have a will of 76. Or, yeah, 82 will on Johnson. Again, without Stars May Live, that would be 76. And I believe Iranians, you got second highest will, I bet it is 81. Yeah, 81. And you've only got, like, level 3 Stars May Live, so you probably max out your will to the highest of any soldier, which makes sense because your aim is terrible. Anyway, yeah, the point is, I should have made the officers be Stars May Live from the beginning, instead of trying to do this all now. But it'll work out, it's fine. So yeah, Karlok, for example, I spotted he has Stars May Live. So something I was going to implement, like with the demotion process, was that the idea being, Mickey, what about the future? Shall we see fights against sectopods? What about blaster launchers? Yes and yes, I would hope. I would hope we get to fight sectopods, seeing as I can't build EMPs without them. Not to mention be a really boring campaign without sectopods. And blaster launchers. Yeah, blaster launchers need fusion cannons, or fusion cores, and we can only get them from assault carriers or battleships. Those are going to be a problem to shoot down. As somebody mentioned, without the fusion cores to build fusion cannons to begin with, how are you going to shoot down those highest tier of ships where you can get more fusion cores? Technically, assault carriers can land. They're the only highest tier of ship that can land. Mickey, have you ever thought about making the game more difficult on you by challenging yourself to taking no longer than 10 seconds between each move during any mission? Thought somebody was going to die during the ambush. If we triggered more than one Cyberdisk pod at a time, yeah, very, very easily, especially if the Ethereal had mind control somebody. As for the fast turn tick over, it's an interesting idea to do like a live stream like that, but I don't know, it kind of goes against what I like about turn-based games, and also what I like about editing my videos, knowing that I can take all the time that I want, although I'm not really going to be editing any series outside of XCOM anymore. Yeah. Anyway, the idea was, Karlok with Stars May Live, he can be a Stars May Live officer. Like with demoting officers, like Watt here, and spending 100 credits to do it, I was thinking I could just switch out one perk for another perk at the same rank and pay 100 credits, like a fee to switch out one perk to another. I think that'd be fair, and I've got written down a few soldiers that would benefit from that, and one of them is Karlok, because he would be a Stars May Live officer. The only problem is, he's a concealment soldier, and concealment soldiers are assaulting class. Officers shouldn't be assaulting class, even though he's an engineer, and engineers aren't typically assaulting class, but yeah, concealment means assaulting class. Hey Aris, Mickey, you're the most viewed XCOM enemy within stream right now. Not really surprising. You know what, how about I show you some lists, guys, because I know a few people have asked about them. So this is my officers sheet. which has evolved into so much more. You'll see now how much paperwork I do with this series, which it's incredibly annoying, don't get me wrong, but it's also necessary for how unique I want the series to be, and I'm glad for it, I really am. Mickey, you've quadrupled the number of people watching XCOM. But yeah, this was my officer sheet, which down here, which isn't up to date anymore, I was choosing, based on what class they are, what officer perks they currently have, either from their perk tree or as a random rookie perk, the will they've got at their particular rank, and the perks they could get in their perk tree if I chose them. So yeah, there was a lot to go through. As I said, I'm not really paying attention to this anymore. It's not up to date. As I said, I'm just kind of sticking with Souls May Live officers. But yeah, I was initially doing this. And as you can see, hence why Carlock, Watt, Wasp, yeah, I think you ought to say Souls May Live officer, Renee, yeah, all of those guys were here. Yeah, the biggest and strongest enemy of XCOM, bureaucracy. Oh my god, XCOM the Bureau. They knew all along. So yeah, this officer sheet kind of evolved into something else, which is now psi abilities, or in particular, soldiers that already have psi abilities. And as I've said in the series, if they've already got a psi ability, I'm not going to stop them from getting an adjacent psi ability of that same rank. Say if they get one as a random rookie perk, or in their perk tree, it shouldn't prevent them from getting a psi ability at that same rank. So if they got Mind Fray, then they can get neural feedback or regen biofield. So here I've got everybody that has got a psi ability already outside of training psi, because I need to keep that in mind, because they could be eligible to train for psi, but it won't show me because they're already at that particular rank of psi. Like in their perk tree, if they've got a perk already at the rank they're going to level up to and they level up, the game won't tell me about it. So yeah, that's all of this here. These are all the people that have got psi abilities already. Was it Misha? Oh, you got mind control. You're not the only person that's got mind control, because Van Dorn's got it, he's not on this list because he's an officer, so he can't train psi. Yeah, I know. Mickey, you've thought about this already, it's fine, it's fine. And the ones highlighted in purple are the people that are currently training. Justina? Yeah, that makes sense, yeah. Okay, it also evolved into this. This is a list of all the people that have officer perks that aren't tied to being an officer. So, Souls May Live, for example, could be on an officer like Johnson, there you go. Even though he's an officer, because he hasn't got Souls May Live from being an officer, at the end of the mission, he gets kicked from his perk tree, like with Legio Paternostra, and I have to give it back to him in the base. And I have to do this with everyone on this list whenever they go out on a mission. Varden, Commander, you have to fill these papers for unauthorized use of explosives. First, you have to fill the form and get it signed by Bradford in triplicate before the end of the day. Oh my god, okay, so this is just my officers list. So yeah, hopefully you guys watching on YouTube, which will be in 2 weeks, I think, you won't see any of this editing, unless I'm talking about it right now. Oh yeah, might as well show this, why not? This is my to-do list. Big highlighted in red, what I have to remember to do. Exalt happened the 20th. I think the 20th when I have to scan for Exalt, but I think I've already mentioned that when Walken finishes his fatigue, I'm just scan again, because there's currently 2 cells going active at the same time. Stuff to buy. Hyperwave relay's done. Need to cross off, you know, just... There you go. What time is it? 3:30. So sad. Don't have time to come back tomorrow. Bradford's gonna get very angry again. Clearly said no explosives. How could he say no explosives? Hey, Slippo, I wonder how much actually gets done from these lists. Well, stuff highlighted, that is done as well. Stuff highlighted in grey is something that I've done, and it's currently building, but hasn't finished building yet. Like, all the plasma weapons, they're gone, because I finished them. I need to do 6 Titan armors, 6 Walker servos, and then plasma tech. That list I talked about, 97 or 96, I think. I talked about all of this. Everything we need for plasma tech. And the only thing we have enough of is alien carbines. We have 7 of them. So capturing an alien with an alien carbine is just a free $60. So that's that part of the to-do list. Then, yeah, talk about changing perks. Yep, I've already talked about that. To spend 100 credits to change a currently picked perk for another perk at the same rank. Then we got the medals. I don't know why this is on my to-do list. I think it just started out like that. But all the medals are here. All the medals, when they got them, who got them, everything is here. Still going. Okay, here we go. All right, then we got the Master Sergeant medals, which is, you know, cool under pressure, nervous wreck, dead shot, highest Master Sergeant, aim, will, mobility, and health, and the lowest ones as well, with everybody marked here as who's got what. So, highest aim is Snyder, lowest health is Joint Friendly and Johnson, so nobody gets that. Lowest mobility is Watt, joint with Johnson again, nobody gets that medal. You know, I've talked about this before. Then we've got Employee of the Month. Right, so yeah, you guys haven't seen this, well, not very often, And dunce cap, yeah. Lowest kills to missions ratio, yeah, is Wasp. It was initially Johnson, surprisingly, but it is currently Wasp. So, the kills to missions ratio, if you are a soldier and you'd like to know, it's all here. Bearing in mind, you only get put on this list once you completed 5 missions, hence why all the people down here are only here marking that they got a capture, and I had to alter their kills ratio, or their kills on the screen, to indicate they got a capture, because capturing an alien doesn't count as a kill. Obviously, it makes sense, but I do want it to count as a kill, because it should count as something. So yeah, it's marked as grey, indicating that I've done it already, but only people that have done 5 missions or more are counted in the kills to missions ratio. So the lowest person is technically Walkham, but as I've mentioned, given that his life revolves around being an operative with just a pistol, I figured, you know what, buddy? I'll skip you. It's fine. You don't get counted. Instead, it goes to Wasp, with a kills to missions ratio of 10 missions, 5 kills, 0.5 kills to missions ratio. Walkham being 0.38. Highest being absolutely ridiculous, Iranians, with 5 missions, 34 kills, and a kills to missions ratio of 68. 68! With Dante, incredibly, yeah, this makes sense, because the ambush, which is where he got a lot of kills, I think he got like 12 kills that mission, Dante, so that shot him up. 10 missions, 54 kills, 5.4 kills to missions ratio. Now, Iranians, with that massive lead of 6.8, I don't think he's going to keep it. I always knew Employee of the Month would be somebody that's got in the zone. Mickey, consider using Excel, like spreadsheets, with automatic... Yeah, I know I should. Bearing in mind, I don't actually have... What is it? Microsoft Works? Is it? Yeah, I don't have that on my computer. But yeah, I know that I could set up a formula to have this column, divide by this column to equal that column, I know. Or even, I'm sure there's a free third-party program that could do that, like Note++. Yeah, Note++ would do that, wouldn't it? Probably. Anyway, I always knew the person at the top of this ranking would be somebody within the zone. But it's taking so long for somebody to get in the zone. In fact, blessed by RNGesus, our first in the zone soldier was episode 52. How? How is that possible? Oh, I'm gonna give you some stats later. I will prove to you that I am unlucky, because I have the proof. Anyway, yeah, I always knew that the person at the top of this Employee of the Month would be somebody with in the zone. But the thing is, I don't think it's me a shotgun in the zoner, because Iranians, I think, just got lucky on that base assault. Because likewise, Atlas, for example, he went on the most recent base assault, and he got like 2 kills, 3 kills. So it really depends on the situation. Open Office is similar to MS Office. Oh, it's not Works Office, right? Yeah, I could use that for example. But yeah, Atlas didn't get very many kills on that base assault at all, whereas Iranians on the previous base assault got at least 10 kills, which is one of the reasons why he just completely shot up the rankings. So I think it's a pretty safe bet to say it's me, Dante. All it's going to take is 1 or 2 bad missions, and bad being that Iranians doesn't get to shoot anything, and his score will just plummet. Bearing in mind, the fewer the missions you've been on, the more wildly your rating will fluctuate. So 1 bad mission for Iranians here could make him drop down like 4 ranks, whereas 1 bad mission for Snyder could mean that he barely moves. He's been on 24 missions. So yeah, I always figured it would be Dante that gets to the top. But we'll see. You know, it might not be that case. Could be somebody else. We might get another in-zone sniper. Maybe. That'd be nice, right? Another in-the-zone sniper. Sure, let's talk about abilities. So, who has what? This is supposed to be the abilities list for soldiers, what they can do, what they can get. And I've also included Cyberdisc, Body Shield, Grenadier, Thin Man Absorption Fields, that's gonna be hell, and Holo Targeting, Drone Resilience. I cannot wait to capture that boss drone again, and it's going to have resilience. The enemy will literally not be able to crit it. And also Heavy Floater, Legio Paternostra. Oh my god, get effed. Oh yes, suck it. But yeah, so if you're a soldier, you can have a look at this list, and you'll see how you fare. Is there going to be a parody of the ending cutscene? Probably. There probably will be, yeah. Thank god there's very, very few cutscenes left to do. There's the Sectoid Autopsy, Hyperwave Relay, haven't done yet. The Firestorm taking off, I don't know if that really counts, because I think all Bradford says is like, I think we've even the playing field, and that's it. I don't know how much of a parody I can make out of that. The Temple Ship? When the Temple Ship arrives, I don't know if there's a cutscene. The Golok Chamber, and the final cinematic, the ending. God, that's still a lot. That's what, like 6, 7? Ugh. I hope the ending will just be the world exploding over and over again. You know, I actually like, one of the few things I like about XCOM 2, a alternate universe, right? They did the whole story of, oh, you know, XCOM lost, and this is what would happen in the future where the aliens took over. But the thing is, if they're doing alternate timelines, alternate universes, they could have just done an alternate universe where the aliens invaded at a different time. They could have invaded 20 years ago, where we had technology from, like, well, I guess 20 years ago would be when they invaded XCOM 1, wasn't it? Well, no, they invaded 2012 in XCOM 1 because it's when it came out. But yeah, the point is it would be the same technology. But yeah, if they invaded like the 1970s and the war could go on a faster scale and technology would increase more quickly, so you'd use technology from the 70s and 80s and 90s, so on and so on. That would have been a good idea to do, but I've just never really been a fan of that kind of pseudo-futuristic world because it doesn't feel like Earth. It's like with Fallout, all the cars everywhere, all the buildings, it doesn't feel like Earth. It makes me feel really detached from the game. Anyway, it's the abilities list. What does it all mean? Okay, first, we got the rank. If they are Master Sergeant plus 1 or 2, it will say so here. Got the name. Then the number next to it is their souls may live. So if it's bold, italics, underlined, it means they've maxed out. Then we've got their class. Then the F indicates range. So Perry here, for example, used an LMG, so he's a long-range assault. Same with Zhang, same with Tiber Gun. Whereas the snipers, and yeah, same with like scouts, for example, Renee and Bert use marksman rifles, so they're not close range. Likewise with the snipers, Vincent, Mason and Crimson, they're close range snipers. Either they use marksman rifles, so they're not extreme range, not infinite range, or like with Crimson, he has to be close, he has to stay close to the squad because he's got grenades. You mean like XCOM Bureau but not crap? Kind of, yeah. Yeah. Obviously the idea isn't to stay in that era, but to have the aliens invasion just go on for longer. Like the waves that they could send could be decades apart because the biggest ships take longer to get there. And at the end of each chapter you could say, okay, I want to focus on this research. And then when the next chapter starts, you've got a head start in that particular research. That'd been cool. We need an XCOM game where humanity strikes back on the alien planet. The original XCOM did that. I think either the final mission or the last series of missions, you were on the aliens planet, and I don't like it. It's the same reason why I don't like XCOM, what's it called? Enemy from the Deep? What's the squid XCOM called? Not Phoenix Point. Yeah, the reason why I didn't like that is because, again, underwater, it doesn't feel like Earth. I prefer to be on maps where it's easy to recognise and relate to what that place was, which XCOM 1 did very, very well. Terror from the Deep, there it is. Cheers, guys. But yeah, I prefer having maps where you can relate to the locations that you're in, which in XCOM 2 is kind of difficult, because even the buildings you go through, you don't even know what they are. They're so futuristic generic. The only maps I like from XCOM 2 are the suburban areas, where it's kind of semi-futuristic, apocalyptic houses, where the houses are kind of semi-torn down, and the ones that are still standing have got like solar panels on the roof, stuff like that. Those I thought were really cool. I like those maps. And from War of the Chosen, the Forgotten maps, whatever the zombie maps are called, those maps I really liked as well. So yeah, next one is multi-shot perks, very clear. So Larry, for example, has got CCS and Close Encounters, Perry the Beast, Close Encounters, Rapid Fire, Hit and Run, so on and so on. If it's highlighted in grey, it means I haven't got it yet. So Zhang will get CCS, assuming I give it to him. I don't know if I will. I think he gets Opportunist, and with an LMG, I think I prefer to give him Opportunist and CCS, because yeah, LMG, CCS, I don't know if it'll fit very well. Likewise for Tiber Gun. Have you had a look at XCOM files for the Open XCOM mod? I have not. Apparently you start out... Oh, yeah. I remember Beagle played that. No. I think Beagle was thinking about playing that. He played something similar to that. Yeah, his series for Open XCOM, I really liked that. The maps felt really unique. Like, some of them would just be completely cluster F, and the other ones would be like he's invading a commune of aliens that don't even have weapons. That was really cool. Yeah, next up are what perks they've got. So, obviously, if you're an assault, you've got run and gun, but it doesn't mean that other soldiers don't have it as well. So, Springthorpe also has run and gun, and Possum Knight, and so on and so on. So, yeah, if you don't see a perk here that you think is relevant, like heat ammo, which I don't. Do I have heat ammo here? Maybe. I think I do, actually. Yeah, I do. Vincent's got heat ammo. Yeah, I keep getting asked, why don't I consider heat ammo to be a good perk? Because in the original game and in Long War, soldiers that got heat ammo were shooty soldiers. Either shooty soldiers or they used a rocket launcher. But getting heat ammo on a soldier doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be good at killing bots, because they could be using an SMG. They might only have one shot. So because heat ammo is kind of focused just on that soldier, and all it does is increase damage to mech, I don't really see the point of making sure that we always have it on a mission, because in the end, chem grenades, acid, or shredder do the exact same thing. And that applies to everything. It applies to any kind of unit. You know, it's just a way of increasing damage, and it applies to all of your soldiers, everybody that shoots that target. So yeah, that is why I don't include heat ammo on my list of things to read off at the beginning of every episode. You heard a dog. Pup. Hello, baby girl. But did you see the dog? Peanut, come. Look, come, baby girl. Slowest dog. Come on, up. Oh my god, puppy. No. Well, I don't know if you guys saw her, but she's here. What's the matter, pup? Yeah, I know. Okay, so that is the abilities list. When I'm sorting out the squads, I just go through and find who's got what. So, Terror Mission, for example, Van Dorn, Battle Scanner, very important. Likewise, oh, Twisted Dragon, yeah, you need to rank up, man. You need to rank up. You need to be on the Terror Missions, because you got Battle Scanner. You need to rank up, get Double Tap and Rapid Reactions, maybe? Sentinel, not sure. Betty Davis, I bet, is another one. Yep, Battle Scanner. And Iranians, not very many Battle Scanners. There you go, Iranians, Battle Scanner, yeah. So, yeah, that's how I keep track of who's got what. Once you have the Hyperwave Relay, that shows the aliens on maps. Yeah, is it not better to take the heat ammo item? I suppose, but the problem is, instead of dealing 50% more damage against mech, I'd simply rather deal +1 damage by building whatever +1 damage item there is. So for lasers, it's like the optics lens. For ballistics, it's something else, I can't remember. But I prefer to just build that. Or even better, have them equip the targeting module? The thing that increases crit chance and crit damage. Because with snipers and the Foundry project, that increases crit chance based on the increase of aim that the item gives, like scope, size scope, laser sight. With snipers, they have such high chance to crit, I'd rather just give them increased damage on crits and increased crit chance. Okay, so the last file. So this file I just made for this video because I'd lost track, and it wasn't really that important anyway, I'd lost track of what random rookie perks people got. So, Pow, for example, got Ready for Anything. Right, yes, that's why I made his nickname be Useless, because he had a shotgun with Ready for Anything. Atlas got Psy Panic. Larry got CCS, yep, CCS, I remember that one. That saved our life on the first Large Landed, episode 4, Epic Hour. Perry got Iron Skin, yeah, that was a crap perk for him turning out to be such a good soldier. Then the extra perks here are Master Sergeant +1 and so on. So Larry +1 and 2 is Master Sergeant +1 and 2, Pyrokinesis and Stay Frosty. Perry, Master Sergeant +1, Neural Dampening and Stars May Live. Snyder, Mind Control for a sniper, Lightning Reflexes and Sharpshooter. Man, that was a lucky roll. Very lucky roll. So yeah, I had to write down here the random rookie perk of each soldier because I couldn't remember. Because when I'm going to talk about each soldier, I want to know their random rookie perk, which isn't included on their perk tree. And also a little indicator here marking what soldiers are worth considering changing one perk out for another at the cost of 100 credits. So yeah, how do I know that I've been unlucky, besides only getting In the Zone episode 52? Alright, so I did some maths, some statistics here. There are 107 usable perks in XCOM. Usable in the sense that not only can the soldiers use them, obviously, but they need to be allowed to use them as a given perk. So the officer perks, Band of Warriors, and Fortunatus Una don't work unless they get it from being an officer. That's what I mean by usable perks. So let's talk about the officer perks. There are 8 usable officer perks in the game, not including those 2 perks. 107 possible perks that soldiers can get, and we have rolled 91 random rookie perks and Master Sergeant +1, 2 or 3 perks. So on average, that should mean we should have rolled a total of 6.8 officer perks. All this bearing in mind, officer perks aren't very good. Sure, you could say combined arms +1 damage is not terrible. It's actually not bad at all. Stars May Live are very useful for officers, but in general, officer perks, they're not good perks. They're a way of diluting the perk roulette pool so it's not overpowered, because perk roulette, using only the standard perks, you very, very easily just get a complete squad of Tyler Perrys here. So yeah, we should have gotten no more than 6.8 officer perks throughout the entire campaign as either random rookie perks or random Master Sergeant perks. In the comments, how many officer perks do you think we've gotten as random rookie perks or Master Sergeant perks? 27. If you had to rate the best and worst random rookie perks that you've gotten, what would they be? Best ones have got to be multi-shot perks, easily, of which we'll get to that in a second. Worst ones, probably officer perks. Things like, especially low-level officer perks, like Stay Frosty, Legio Passive Nostra, Into the Breach maybe? I can't remember which one of those XP perks is for sergeant rank or lower, which, if you're not an officer and you're higher than sergeant rank, it's a dead perk. I bet 40%. You bet 40%. You bet 40% of all of our soldiers, their random rookie perks or Master Sergeant perks were officer perks. And also, as an idea, the ones highlighted in grey are officer perks. Obviously, purple being Psy, black being multi-shot perks. We got 9. Okay, it's not a lot. Okay, it's not a lot, but it's higher than average. It's higher than what it should be. We should have got 6.8, and we've got 9. That means it's unlucky. Not by a lot, but it is. Did anybody get 9? Who said 40? 56. Yeah, 56 of our 91 rookies got it as their random rookie perk. Chronic, you won. Really? 10%. Yeah, you actually did win. Well done. You actually won 10%. God, it is 10%. 10% of our soldiers got either a random rookie perk or a random Master Sergeant perk that was an officer perk. God, that makes it sound even worse. Hey, speaking of aliens, they saw a green fireball over Australia a few hours ago. That, I believe, is the phenomenon known as ball lightning. Obviously never seen it, but it's been reported a lot. People don't really know what caused it. It's seemingly harmless balls of what look like lightning that just dissipate. That's cool though. If they got videos of it, I'll have a look at it. So XCOM's made up of 10% failed military officers. Alright, let's move on to multi-shot perks, shall we? So, as I said, 107 possible perks, 9 of them are multi-shot perks. Bearing in mind, CCS is arguably not very good, especially on a sniper, obviously, or LMG, hell, even just a rifle, not very good for CCS, although Franny would disagree. Having said that, that may have been the first time he's used CCS, possibly. So yeah, 9 out of 107 possible perks are multi-shot perks. That means 8.41%, so we should, in theory, have 7.65 of our random rookie perks or random Master Sergeant perks be multi-shot perks. Spoiler, it's not far off, but we are unlucky. Who wants to guess? Hey, you ever going to finish Half-Life Alyx? Yes, I will. Sorry it's taking so long. Well, first being sick with the C virus, then I got nothing. I should do it. I should really do it. I should really get back into streaming. I'm just kind of anxious about it. And especially with VR, I really wasn't happy with the performance of Half-Life Alyx, or mainly my computer. And when it comes to normal streaming like Deus Ex and other games I want to play, because of my eyesight and how I've got the camera set up, which is the only way I can think of setting it up, even though like this, it's fine, I don't play like this. I play like this. So all you get is forehead cam. And even if it's aimed downwards, it's still not really great. I mean, I suppose it's better than nothing. But yeah, I will be continuing Half-Life Alyx. I'll be finishing it. I apologise that A, it's taken so long, and B, the performance is crap. That first stream that I did, I should have scrapped it and start over. It was so bad. So yeah, what did we get? We should have gotten 7.65. We got 7. It's not far off. It's not, but statistically, we are unlucky. Mickey's complaining about a 0.65. Other streams were good. Oh, cheers. I assume you're talking about me and not other streamers. Off topic, would you tell us about your experience with the C virus? I've been considering doing a video about it, but I will probably not, so yeah, sure. For me, it's the most sick that I've been in my adult life. It was basically like a flu, but the difference is with a flu, you peak at your worst and then go back to normal very, very quickly. That worst part of a flu only lasts for a day or two, but the thing with the C virus is it lasts for about a week and a half, and that's when you get into trouble, and I had the paramedics tell me as much. Yeah, I called the paramedics. Long story. Maybe I'll tell it, it's actually quite funny. The issue isn't how bad it is, it's how long it lasts. It just feels like a normal flu. It feels absolutely awful. But after a week and a half of having an incredibly high fever, sweating non-stop, trying to drink as much water as you can, taking more paracetamol than is really healthy because you should only take 2 tablets every 4 hours, but only 8 tablets a day. Meaning after your last set of tablets, you need to sleep to give your body time to recover from all the tablets you've taken to then go back onto the cycle of taking paracetamol again. That didn't work for me because I couldn't sleep, so I was taking more than I should have. But regardless, I was still having an incredibly high fever. After a week and a half of that, you get really, really badly dehydrated. At my worst, I couldn't get out of bed, and holding a mug like this, for about 30 seconds, I got purple bruises around my fingers from how badly dehydrated I was. That was the second time I was considering calling the paramedics. That's how bad it got. So yeah, it's not the symptoms or the severity, it's the duration. And the paramedics, I'll explain why I called the paramedics in a second, but when the paramedics turned up, they said, after a week and a half, you either get better or you go downhill and you end up in the hospital. And yeah, that's the thing. It's because you're sick for so long at that severity, which is the same severity as a normal flu, but it's just the duration of it. And also the fact that you're so tired for so long, you're not making proper meals, so you're just going by biting snacks, which you have to eat because you're taking so much paracetamol, but you're not making proper meals because, you know, who in the household's going to be making it if everybody's sick, with, you know, me and my wife. Yeah, we're just having like crackers, bread, toast with jam, maybe like with chocolate. We weren't making proper meals because we couldn't stay up long enough to do it, and as I said, doing that for a week and a half, you're going to go downhill really quickly. A funny story, right, okay, so I was in contact with my friends while I was sick, keeping them up to date. That only went for so long because when things went really downhill, I was like, you know what, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't want to give you like a daily update. I was just like, yeah, you know what, I'll just get back to you either when I'm better or because I'm dead and somebody's told you already. So one of my friends said the father of a friend of his went to the hospital because he had it, and the doctors there told him, do breathing exercises, and he went back home and he was dead the following night. And that really freaked me out, understandably. I am quite a hypochondriac, and also I apologise if you guys watch it on YouTube and you just want to know about the XCOM series. I hate it when YouTubers or streamers talk about something other than the game that they're playing. But as I said, I'm not going to do a video about having the C virus, so I'll talk about it now. But yeah, I'm a hypochondriac, I am. But I try to be reasonable about it. I was like, you know what, I'm paying attention to how I feel. I'm not going to do anything extreme. I'm just going to take everything calm. I'm going to try eat and drink as much as I can. But after an hour, my chest, my heart, my lungs, like my rib cage, was hurting. It was sore. And when you got the flu, everything hurts. Like sitting down, your butt will hurt after an hour. A couple of days sitting in bed, my back hurt, my butt hurt. Everything, anything you put your weight onto, like even sit in the chair like this with my elbow on the table, my elbow would hurt. Just everything hurts that you put pressure on. But yeah, after an hour or so, my entire abdomen hurt. Chest, ribs, lungs, heart, everything was sore. And I was like, that's not good. But you know what? I'm a hypochondriac. I'm going to keep it under control, chill. So I'm lying in bed. 4 hours later, it still hurts. And I'm thinking, this isn't good. If I go to sleep, am I really going to wake up? So I woke up my wife and I was like, I've been in pain for like 5 hours. And it's like, the vital parts that you can't survive for more than a couple of minutes. And she was like, oh, crap. So we called the paramedics and they turned up. They checked my our oxygen levels. And taking into account margin for error, with maximum being 100, my oxygen level was 99. It was literally the highest it could be, taking into account margin for error. It turns out I was hyperventilating. That's why everything hurt. Because when you've got a flu and you're putting any kind of pressure on any part of your body, it will ache. And I was hyperventilating because I was freaked out about somebody having died that my friend knew, without realising I had caused my entire chest area, everything to hurt. So yeah, that was fun. But at least we found out oxygen levels were doing okay. Agnieszka was 98, so yeah. You're doing badly if it goes downwards, because it means you'll not be able to breathe properly. Good question. How do I know that I was infected with it? I don't know if I was infected with it, but given that it's the worst sickness I've had in my adult life, it has all of the symptoms of this virus, and it lasted for that long, it would be incredibly unlikely that it was anything other than the C virus. As for where I got it from, we went to the shops. We have a cooperative down the road, and there was an old lady coughing her lungs out in the store, and I was thinking, I'm gonna avoid you. I'm gonna just go like the long way around aisles, and it's a relatively small store. It wasn't like a big superstore, and I can only assume my wife didn't pay attention to her, because 3 days later she got sick, or started to get sick, and we weren't sure what it was, because at that stage you can't really tell how bad it's gonna get. But the problem is, 3 days after that I got sick, and then I started to draw the correlation, like in terms of time period. Like if it's taken me 3 days to get sick, and it took her possibly 3 days to get sick, that would put us in the store like on that day, and the old lady was coughing. Now, the paramedics said there is no way you could know that with any kind of certainty. There's absolutely no way. And they're completely right. It could be anything. It could be we picked up an item of food that somebody else held. It could be like somebody that worked in the store. Or it could be somebody in our flat that we were in. The next door, the guy that lives there works in a hospital and they got sick. So, all this talk of, timelines and this old lady coughing, yeah, it is far more likely that we just touched like a door handle of the family next door that got sick. So, yeah. And thankfully they're all okay as well. Yeah, so that sounds like the start of a horror story. Honestly, I can understand if this woman, whoever she was, if she's living on her own, I get that, I do. But if you're coughing during a pandemic, don't go outside. Just don't go outside. Have somebody that you know pick up what you need and drop it off at your door, and you can give them the money, like do the transaction online or call the bank up to do it. Don't go to a public place and start coughing everywhere, regardless of whether you've got it or not. God, I feel sorry for smokers as well, having the smokers cough. Get away from me. Or at least a mask. Honestly, a mask wouldn't even do it. If you're coughing, don't go into a public place, especially an enclosed public space. Anyway, so how about we get back to the list? Okay, so I've covered things I'm glad I did, things I'd change. I'm surprised nobody's asked this. Will I stream XCOM? I can't believe nobody's asked that. We'll actually write the answer down as. Not until I finish the series for certain. I won't stream XCOM. I do have a system set up, as you guys can see, with Snyder here. I can, if I really wanted to do this, which is not exactly fast, I can show the medals on stream. It's a pain. it is, and I can't update it on the fly, so if somebody gets a new medal, I can't do it until the following week. But I can do it, and also I know the quality of the medals will look worse. I've had to kind of take a snapshot of the medals and then chroma key out the background. So sorry if you guys are watching live, it's going to look worse. Hopefully you guys watching on YouTube with the actual overlay on top of it, it should look at least a little bit sharper. But yeah, will I stream XCOM? I don't know. This series is going to take at least a year minimum to finish. If not, I think I estimated 1 episode a month will take 3 years. 1 episode a week will take about a year. So, if not, how about Xenonauts or a different game? Yeah, I mean, that comes back to me starting to stream. Honestly, I'm kind of anxious about it. Like the camera, for example, as I said, I need to sort it out in a way that it's not forehead cam. And I'm just anxious about being able to maintain it, like on a schedule, a day-by-day basis, and also maintain the quality of it as me as a streamer, because I've seen, you know what, Snyder, you've had your moment. I've seen streamers have breakdowns live. And honestly, I nearly did when I was playing Invisible Ink, because as much as I love that game, and the reason why I love it is because I understand all the rules, all the mechanics of it, playing with all those mods, it started to break away what I liked about it. It made a lot of ambiguity in terms of what does his ability do, what does that enemy have, what this item, what does it do, how does it work, and you know, the enemy AI, what this thing's just triggered, what does it do, how do I work it, how do I interact with it. All of these things were adding to me not liking it. And I think it became very clear when I was streaming that episode, that stream, that I was really done with it at that point. I knew that I couldn't finish it on that difficulty and that I was just not throwing it. I wouldn't throw like a campaign like that, but I knew it was over and I was waiting for it to be over. And although that wasn't a proper breakdown on stream, I am very wary that it's kind of an inevitability for streamers to have breakdowns, and I really, really don't want to do that. You don't mind forehead cam, no? Cool. We love forehead cam though. But yeah, if I can sort out the camera, I mean, even if it is just simply aiming it downwards to be at a level that would make sense for my hunchback while I'm playing with my eyesight. Yeah, I just want to be wary about doing streams because I enjoy them, which it always comes down to like this pattern of me not wanting to stream. Then once I've started streaming, I really enjoy it, and then I don't want to stop streaming. So like there's this anxiety about it. But yes, I need to get back into it. Even if it's just like twice a week, like one day, one game, and one day the next. And yes, that include finishing Half-Life Alyx, it'll include finishing Deus Ex. I do want to play other games. I want to have one day where I play a hardcore game like Invisible Ink, another day where I'd have a very kind of light casual game, like a lot of the games you guys have donated to me, which is really overdue that I play them. So yeah, I need to start streaming. As for streaming XCOM, as I said, no time soon. Don't know if I'd do it anyway. Next question. Why do you need a camera in the first place? Maybe use streams as community gaming. Okay, why use a camera in the first place? Because typically you can't do well as a streamer without a camera. It's sad, but it's true. And it's got to be a half-decent camera. Thank you, camera. But yeah, you need to be able to look at streamers, which I'm terrible at doing. But you need to be able to look at them when you're talking to them while you're playing. Because without a camera, you typically won't find very popular streamers. It does happen, I'm sure, especially once they become popular enough, they can just choose not to use a camera. But you need to have a camera when you stream if you want to make it good, if you want to make something out of it. Then why not use streams to be like a community thing? If you mean play community games, I don't know, because I would want to use voice chat, and as much as I trust you guys, I'm used to not swearing, and that would mean I'd have to trust you guys to also be used to not swearing. Some of you might be, say for example your kids, you typically won't swear, you'll be used to not swearing, but others, like going to college for example, you might swear all the time. So it might not be your fault, because your intention would be not to swear, but you might swear accidentally. So it's something for me to keep an eye on, that I can't play like community games like that, which I know a lot of streamers do and they just don't really give a crap, but typically they'll be quite big streamers and it's only for Twitch and they're not put it onto YouTube, or they're big enough on YouTube where they don't need to care about swearing. But yeah, I'm not really either of those things, big Twitch or big YouTuber, so I do need to be careful of swearing. Would I consider doing XCOM multiplayer? No, XCOM multiplayer is bad. It's so bad. I don't know how much it was patched to work. I don't know if Long War is compatible with multiplayer, and what I do know is multiplayer is not balanced. I mean, God, especially XCOM 2 multiplayer is, oh, it's so bad. But yeah, multiplayer is not balanced. You'll quickly get to a meta where it will file down to particular units using particular weapons, because it's not balanced at all. But yeah, I wouldn't really be interested in playing a multiplayer. The only multiplayer that I would do with XCOM is a co-op campaign with XCOM 2. because I worked out all the commands I'd need to do that. It'd have to be hosted locally, so whoever I was playing with, which ideally I'd like to be another streamer so I can actually help the channel grow organically. But yeah, I could have them view my PC via something like TeamViewer, something like that, and even give them command of the mouse so they could make moves on my machine. That's how I could make a co-op XCOM 2 work. But yeah, that's really about all I can think of for a multiplayer XCOM game, or strings I would do. But yeah, I've actually thought of 4 new perks that I can actually implement now that we can use the commands give perk, I don't know, like will 5, I think that's how you do it. Basically, with the more commands mod for the console and the fact that I can now alter stats, I can now, if I wanted to, which I don't know if I will because it's kind of late in the campaign to do something like this, I could add 4 new perks that when they're selected, when they're applied, when they're gotten, I could give people like +5 aim or will or mobility or health. I guess not health because health already exists, it's extra conditioning. But you know what I mean? I could create a perk that gives more stats. But yeah, I don't know if I do that. I really wish I knew of a way to make all the aliens perks usable by all the soldiers, man. I really wish I could do that. God, it'd be so cool to give a soldier bull rush or flight or cloak. Like, sure, it's not going to be balanced, but RNG balances all. If one soldier gets an overpowered perk, it's just one soldier. But man, I really wish I could make all of the aliens' abilities work for XCOM soldiers. Like when you did it with Spiffy Squee. Kind of, but with Squee, what I did was, he didn't have control of my machine, he was just watching. So yeah, it was kind of like that, but it'll be the next step up where he can actually take control of the mouse. Which, my connection's not very good, so yeah, I don't know how well that would turn out. From their point of view, moving the mouse around, there'd be like a 1 second delay. So they might need to have on their end the lowest quality detail, even in black and white, just to increase the connection speed to make sure there's not any kind of bottleneck, as much as there can be. And then for them to release it on their channel, it would need to be me sending the file over to them after the fact. TeamViewer, yeah. Make a perk that gets you an extra level. Not a bad idea. Unless it turns out like Bark, where he doesn't get any aim at all. Never seen that happen before. What else we got? Okay, so last point I want to make before I move on to the soldiers. Is the XCOM SDK publicly available? No, because it runs on the Unreal Engine. And there are a lot of complications with making an SDK when you don't have the full license to an engine. The license that Firaxis have got for the Unreal Engine is to use it and release a finished game with it, not to release modding tools for that game. Like with XCOM 2, for example, I think the modding tools they used are... how did they do that? Yeah, I don't know how they got around that for XCOM 2, because I'm pretty sure XCOM 2 would still use the Unreal Engine, I think. But XCOM 1 definitely used the Unreal Engine, and it's a completely different license. To release editing tools for an engine you've licensed out is something completely different to just making a game using that engine. So no, they don't. Yeah, last point I wanted to talk about before we move on to the soldiers. I should have stopped the series a long time ago. How many of you guys know a YouTuber called Xavier? His channel is Xwins, which for the longest time, I kept reading the channel name thinking, how the hell do you pronounce that? It's like XWYNNS. So yes, it's Xwins. But yeah, Xwins content, honestly, for serialized gameplay videos, I actually like him more than anybody else. They're edited pretty heavily, maybe not as heavily as my videos, but he's more brutal in what he cuts out. Because, like, I find with my editing, I can talk for like 10 minutes about one single situation, where typically you'd say, okay, I've decided to do this, you know, after the fact, after you've considered all your options. But yeah, his videos are edited, he plays them on the highest difficulty, and as much as I don't want to point fingers at anybody, you can tell he doesn't cheat, because you can see, based on his previous series, he doesn't always win. You can tell cheaters because they always win. Unfortunately for my series, because we haven't lost mission yet. We have lost Soldier though, and I've had lots of series where we lose, like every single Cataclysm series, and half the Kenshi series. But yeah, the point is, you can see that he's sincere about his videos, and about his gameplay, and they're edited, they're done well, they're to the point, and they're long episodes, and he's only got like 40,000 subscribers, and he's quite an old channel as well. He's at least 3 years old, and it just goes to show how badly serialized edited gameplay does on YouTube. If you're doing like one-off episodes, completely disconnected from one another, especially if they're comedy based, then you do really well. But if they're like a playthrough, an actual playthrough of a game, you're going to do really, really badly because you can't get the episodes out every single day. And I believe he's got an editor, and even then he can't get episodes out every single day. Sometimes a week will go by with no episodes for any of the series he's got, and that massively hurts his videos and his series, like it does with mine. Having a week gap, which is the absolute best that I can do with XCOM. Having a week gap between episodes massively hurts the series, because I find me watching his content, I might not watch any of his videos for like 6 months, because I'll watch up to a certain point and there's no more content. I'll be like, okay, well, wait a few days, no more content. Okay, well, I'll come back in a few months. And I know people watching my content do the exact same thing. So yeah, if I was smart, I would have stopped this series a long time ago, because the amount of work that I have to do and how slowly I go through it. I'm probably the longest still running XCOM series on YouTube, and it's not a good thing. And one thing that I see YouTubers say over and over again in videos about how to be a good YouTuber is, if something's not working and you're still doing it after 1 year, it's your own fault for still doing it when it's not working. And I'm still doing it. So yeah, that's kind of why I've stopped doing the other series, because for the same reasons. I struggle to get them out every single day, and there are gaps between episodes. People stop watching. So I just figured I've got to do something different. As I've mentioned, 6 months ago, I talked about a new way I was going to do YouTube with streaming, number one. And number two, I wanted to do critique videos of not just games, but TV shows and movies, and have them be very kind of comedy-based, using a webcam. I don't know if you guys can see the green screen is still there, because the green screen that I've got set up here is terrible. But yeah, that's the only way I can see my channel still surviving. And that's in spite of XCOM, not because of XCOM. To do streaming just for one channel and have a new channel be that kind of critique video, where the episodes are, each video is one-off. They're completely disconnected from one another. So yeah, I should have stopped this series a long time ago. X-Wins is a beta tester for Long War 2. You think he's in the credits as well? Yeah, I should probably check out Long War 2. It's been such a long time. I know when I first played it, I was like, ugh. To be completely honest, it wasn't entirely... I know a lot of people didn't like Long War 2 because it was Long War 2. I didn't like it because it was XCOM 2. It was built on a foundation that I didn't like. This long series is why I watch you. But that's the thing. Everybody that's watching right now is the exception, not the rule. Like, if you go to the beginning of the series, you could see, like, a couple of thousand people have watched the series. The first, 10 episodes or so. Now, it's like 200. And it's going down. It is actually going down. Last year, I would get 300 to 400, no, actually maybe even 500 views per XCOM video. Now, it's bordering 200. And I don't see that increasing. I actually see that going down. So, yeah. I've never heard your opinion about this. What do I think of Chimera Squad? It's not XCOM 3, more of a side spin-off. Ah, you mean Diversity Squad. Yes, XCOM Diversity Squad. Yeah, Jack, this kind of rolls into your question as well. What do I think of the direction XCOM's taking? I was going to leave that till the end, but I suppose I can talk about it now. Not really a fan of it. So, I bought Chimera on the day, which was, funnily enough, 3 days into me being sick, where I could still sit on this chair. Before I was bedridden, when I had the C virus, and obviously I couldn't play at the time. Instead, I watched, I think, Christopher Odd play it, and after the first chapter, because the game's split up into 3 chapters, because you're facing off against 3 factions, and you can choose which faction to take on first. When you defeat them, you move on to the next faction, then the next one, and then you finish the game. And in that sense, it's broken up to 3 chapters. After watching the first chapter of his series, I found it boring. Like, it's novel, it is, everything about it. The fact that it's close quarters, there's no sniping exploits, there's lots of melee, there's capturing aliens, which is completely beyond me why they removed that from XCOM 2. There's a different kind of turn system. It does feel very novel, and the characters are unique. But the problem is, and I knew this at the time, I knew when I saw videos of this and what I heard about it, I knew it wouldn't have a good lifespan. I knew people would get bored of it, and they did. Like, after watching that first chapter, I thought, you know what, I'm going to watch Beagle play. I haven't seen him play a game in quite a long time, but I just don't have the time for it. I started watching his stream. After 2 hours, I stopped watching. I just find the game boring. It's novel, but when that novelty wears off, there's just not enough there. And it's kind of a shame, but yeah, that's what I think about it. So yeah, what do I feel about the direction of XCOM? Granted, I remember, Jack, when you asked this in the Discord, I was like, well, that's kind of outside the scope of what I want to talk about for this episode. Yeah, how's that scope going for this episode, Mickey? I've talked about the C virus, I've talked about haven't streaming yet, talked about Chimera Squad, so yeah, I might as well just talk about it. How do I feel about the direction of XCOM? Not great. They are focusing more and more on smaller scale engagements, and you could say Chimera Squad is just a side project. What do I think of Darkest Dungeon? Don't like it. Really don't like it. Too much RNG. XCOM just needs some complexity back. Yes it does. So yeah, they're focusing more on smaller and smaller engagements, and you could say Chimera Squad was just a spin-off, but if it was successful, it wouldn't just be a spin-off. they'd make a Chimera Squad 2 before they made an XCOM 3 if Chimera Squad was successful. And in fact, I'm pretty sure they knew it wouldn't be successful for hardcore XCOM fans, hence they released it at a cheaper price. I think that's why they did that. And good on them, very good on them. I'm glad a dev can see, you know what, maybe this isn't going to be received very well, let's do it for a cheaper price. But even with XCOM 2, the original XCOM, OG XCOM, its basis, its foundation was complexity and difficulty. Now, you might say there's no room for that if you want to have a broader market, if you want to get more casual fans. Sure, to a degree, but number one, you will lose out on your hardcore fans, the fans that actually buy every game in the series, if you do that. And the second thing is, you could say that about Dark Souls. Dark Souls didn't lose its difficulty with its sequels. I mean, you could argue potentially it might have, but it kept that. That was its selling point. That was the whole point of Dark Souls. It was a difficult game. That's why it was good. But now they're making XCOM without the complexity and without the difficulty. And it begs the question, why? Like, they can make a game for casuals and a game for hardcore fans. But the thing is, you balance the game for hardcore fans and then tone it down for casual fans. But the emphasis is, you make sure you have the highest difficulty balanced first and go down from there, not the other way around. Because then you end up with XCOM EU's difficulty on Impossible Mode being, oh yeah, nobody on the dev team's finished it. When you release it, how long did it take for somebody to finish the game on Impossible difficulty? With XCOM 2 as well. Oh, you know, we were going to call it Impossible difficulty, but we're going to go with Legend this time. And then, of course, the meta is AoE, cover destruction, and then multi-shot perks. You need to balance the game if that's what XCOM's about. You need to be difficult. You need to be complex. Like the Deus Ex games. I find them okay, the modern Deus Ex games, but there's just no complexity there. It's like Deus Ex for babies. It's not terrible, but it's not Deus Ex. Like with XCOM, it's not XCOM. And there is room for that complexity. Like, this is a great example that I use for complexity in casual games. Imagine Skyrim. I really love Skyrim. Honestly, it's one of my top 10 games of all time, just for the world that you can live in and explore. And the argument I've always made for Skyrim is, why couldn't it have had Dark Souls combat? Think about it. Parries, riposts, shield breaks, plunging attacks. Why couldn't it have had all of that stuff and stability ratings, except on the low difficulties for casual players, all of those stats, all of those ratings become less impactful. You don't need to parry and riposte. You don't need to get backstabs. You don't need to worry about the stability of your armor compared to the enemy weapons that they're using, because it's just less effective on you as a player. So why not have that complexity, so that people on the highest levels will have more to sink their teeth into, have a higher skill ceiling, while the people on the lower levels can just play however they want. Or even better, they can play it and then see, wow, I can see what they're going for here. Maybe I'll increase the difficulty and actually take advantage of these systems that are in place and get more out of the game. So yeah, that's the argument I make for complexity video games, which I wish they'd focus more on in XCOM, because I don't like the direction they're taking. It being, oh, you know, we're trying to make it more broader appeal. Yeah, that's great, but you can still make it a hardcore difficulty on the highest difficulties and still have it be casual on the low difficulties. Yeah, I could talk about XCOM 2 for literally hours, but let's not. Should we go through the soldiers? Van Dorn,